Hi, everyone. This is Debbie Johnstone of 818 Light Codes, and I'm here today to talk about how using the light codes can help our animal companions. My other job is an animal communicator, and because I'm so passionate about talking to animals and helping animals, I and a friend of mine have been playing with using the light code with animals and how it helps them and, of course, and in turn helps their human companions. So with me today, I have Patty Morgan, a very good friend and somebody that's been really playing with me for a couple of years with the light codes and seeing how they impact and affect in a very positive way our animal companions. Patty, welcome. I'm excited to talk about this with you. We have a couple of stories you're going to share. So good to have you with me today.
Thank you, Debbie. It's a pleasure to be able to share these stories. Thank you for asking me to participate.
I couldn't think of anyone else I'd want to have first. This is basically my first instructional video on how the light codes really work beyond the first one we did of the whole background and history. Patty's going to actually tell stories and experiences. She has the wonderful job of taking care of animal companions for people and has lots of opportunities to use them. I think we're going to start with your own dog, Starlight, right?
Yes. I rescued Starlight from a rescue group that was here local, and she was a cruelty case that ended up requiring an extensive surgery. Gosh, it was probably about a year of rehabilitation after the surgery, but she was confined to an area after the surgery, and I reached out to you.
Starlight had a pretty severely broken leg to the point where there were thoughts that amputation might be needed when she came to the rescue, and it had been untreated for a couple of weeks, maybe a little bit longer, and very young. Do you remember how old she was when this happened?
About a year and a half.
She couldn't use the leg. She couldn't walk on it. And she did a really good job of getting around. But the rescue was able to find a wonderful surgeon that was able to repair the leg. And it was a very long surgery. And so the rehab was going to be very long. So this is a very young dog that had tons of energy. She's a husky. And the idea of her not using the leg and keeping her confined. How long did she have to be confined? I don't remember.
I got her in April, and she was confined until actually my birthday in July.
So a long time for a very young dog to be confined. And I know your biggest concern was how to keep her calm, where this is a dog the type of dog that has lots of energy, very sweet, sweet soul, and how to make her more comfortable and how to keep her kind of calm when all she wanted to do was run and play. We put a plan together on how to use the light codes to help with that, and I'll let you explain kind of the rest of how it all came together.
Okay. I had to confine the area out of a kennel in our dinette area, which had a roof, because she couldn't jump, she couldn't play, so it really was a timeout for her. She was being medicated with tranquilizers at the time just to keep her energy down, but the surgery ended up not being just let's repair a broken leg. They had to cut the bone, and it was called an outside fixator, so she had rods in her legs and pins. She had a rod up her leg and pins around the outside of the fixator, so there was no cast. You know, she could not apply any pressure on it because she had to grow that bone back together. She spent a lot of time in her kennel resting. You looked up the specific light codes that you had at that time that would be conducive to what she had, and actually printed them out, and I hung them on the inside of her kennel so that they would always be there, easily reactivated, and just having that energy present in her kennel is huge.
I think we did some calming ones, peaceful ones, and then healing ones as well.
We did, and I think even as the time went on, more and more were created because she had something going on, and you would get information, and you'd go, here's one for her. And I specifically remember sitting at the dining room table doing some artwork, going through my phone and looking at them, and at the time I installed inflammation because she did have inflammation in that leg from the surgery.
Yeah,
and it was
I think dissolve. It's actually called dissolve inflammation, and I think it came through specifically for her.
It did. It absolutely did. And one day I was sitting there and went through the light codes. I don't even remember the ones that I used to use on her, but I know I used that one on her alone a lot. And there was also a one to deactivate the pain, but it wasn't the pain deactivation. It was comfort and ease. I used that one a lot. But at this time, I installed the dissolve inflammation in her and had my eyes open because I like to view the animal when I'm putting them in them. And I actually saw it like go in her shoulder and down to her leg area where the surgery was at. And that's the first time I'd ever seen that with my physical eyes.
Oh, wow. That's fun. I see it a lot inside my mind's eye, and occasionally I'll see it externally. But I know that she responded. She's a high-sensitive animal, and I know that it seemed to help keep her calm and help her heal quickly. I know the surgeon, because I went with you on many of the appointments, was very, very pleased with how well she healed and how quickly.
Yeah, and I think that they just are magical, and I still use them to this day, but when you would put them in there and you knew you got the one that just resonated with them and did its job immediately, the animal lets out a sigh, looks at you, gives you the universal blink, yawns, stretches. I mean, they react to them so easily.
Yeah, that's why I love using them on animals, because you can see that happen so quickly. So let's tell everybody that Starlight is doing amazing. Her leg is completely healed, and she runs and plays with her sister, and thanks to the rescue group, she's really leading an amazing life. So she's very lucky to have you now.
Yes, she is. Thank you.
Yeah, she's a sweetie pie. Her name's Starlight, and she's a really beautiful husky girl. So the next one we thought we might talk about is Rosie. Tell us a little bit about Rosie.
Rosie is, he's actually a Belgium cousin to a Malinois. Beautiful, beautiful dog, kind, old soul, and I was his pet sitter for quite a few years, and I would go up 3-4 times a week, and we'd go for walks in the desert and on the road. That was kind of my job to do with him, and just give him companionship during the day. And there was one day I went there, and it started out with allergies, but his tummy was off, and they had him on different things for it. And so he laid on the sofa next to me, and I got out my phone and just started flipping through the light codes, and whatever resonated with me, I would install in him. And then I could see him react to that. So it became a habit, really, for him, that when I was there, he would want me to install light codes. So I would go through my phone, and I would rattle the names off, and he would give me the universal blink as to which ones he wanted. And then I got confirmation from his owners, because I always texted with my visits, and he would be a different dog when they came home from work. Peaceful, feeling better, whatever it is he needed that day.
Oh, how wonderful. And for our listeners, the universal blink, Patty and I know it really well, and those people who work with animals probably know it too, but the universal blink is a very slow blink from that animals give us, and it's usually a sign of affirmation, or they agree with something, or yes. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what that was. So Rosie was a habitual light code junkie, basically.
Yes, he was. That's what our visit became about at the end before I left was light code time.
So the next couple we want to talk about are two little bitty ones, two of my favorites. They're the little, I believe they were Chihuahuas, or are Chihuahuas,
Yes.
And that's Zeke and Zoe. Yeah, I don't remember the story, so you'll have to share it.
It was actually through you. It was a posting on Facebook looking for a pet sitter, and you referred me, and I private messaged her. Yes, it was actually my very first visit with them. So this was the first time this family had left these dogs, two little bonded Chihuahuas, and I went over and met them, and they were a little skittish in the beginning, but then they kind of warmed up to me. Then when the time came when they left, it was maybe 3-4 days later, you know, I had entered into the house on my own. They were gone, and it was two different dogs. And there was a male and a female. Zeke was the male, and he was very, very, very afraid. And I couldn't approach him. He would growl at me, and I was a dog trainer for a couple years. I read animals really well, and I knew he would bite me. So I just backed off, gave him the space, and reached out to you, and you assessed the situation, and you long distance installed light codes in them. And I remember the first one being that you installed was to clear cords, cut cords.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, so that's, the light code is named Cord Dissolution and Healing.
And the human mama was worried leaving these guys, first time pet sitter, first time leaving, and she was having anxiety, and he was connected to her, and he was having anxiety. And you worked on him, I think, 3 days in a row for me, and by the third day, he actually came to me. Aww. And they're a continued client of mine now, and now I still can't pick him up to this day, which I respect that if he doesn't want to, but he absolutely loves me. So it was very transformational from my point of view, having been a dog trainer.
Sure.
Being able to read body language, and that's not how I was trained with light codes to train dogs. It was traditional dog training, and I worked in a behavioral school. So the subtleties of how the light codes worked for this little scared-to-death Chihuahua were phenomenal.
Oh, so good to hear.
And to this day, when I go over there, I still install light codes in them because they like it.
And yeah, my dogs like it too. They'll sometimes request, and I know your dogs do that too. In fact, sometimes your dogs contact me to do it without you.
Yeah,
I love that.
You listen, I don't.
Yeah.
There's the listen to animals comes into play.
Yeah, exactly. What Patty's laughing about and talking about, my other website is listentoanimals.com. That's my animal communication website. The last story that we're going to talk about today, I actually remember this one very clearly. You were doing you were moving a rescue dog for a local rescue group that you work with, a very large dog, a Malamute, and you were in the car with the dog. You were in the back, weren't you?
Yeah, he was. Yep.
And I think it was a male, and he was very nauseous. He had car sickness.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, he was drooling and crying and pacing and panting and just beside himself.
I remember that because what I really remember is you calling me almost, you were a little stressed because you couldn't do anything to help calm him down, and you had quite a bit of a ride to go, and you couldn't imagine him being this way the whole ride. So while Patty was on the phone with me, I can't tell you what light codes I used, but I know that it was calming ones. There's several that calm, peace, and also did some energy balancing, probably with the balancing light codes, and just helping him to feel safe and comfortable. Mostly what he was experiencing was anxiety about leaving again. You know, rescue animals get moved and they don't know where they're going or why they're going, and he was very nauseous. So that's what we worked on. And what did you see happen?
He laid down. He actually laid down, and you could see his whole body, like, breathe. He got calm, and he actually laid his head down on the seat.
And if I remember correctly, this was like a 5 to 6 minute phone call. It wasn't a long, they work very, very quickly when someone is open to them.
Absolutely. And we used that because I had to transport him a few more times. Every time I transported him, I called you.
I do remember that. And he went to a wonderful home. So we assisted him, just helping him to relax and calm down and not be nauseous. Being a kid, as a kid, I had car sickness all the time, so I can associate. It was just wonderful to see him calm down so quickly and to hear you relax when he calmed down. That was even more wonderful.
Well, that was a big boy to sit in the back seat, pacing back and forth that I had to manage. And, you know, Obviously when they stress, I stress.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to share any the experiences that we talked about today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close?
Yes. I would just like to say to whoever is listening to this that the light codes are real, they're magical, they're simple to use, and not only for ourselves, but for our animals. And the animals love them. They're the purest form of love, the light codes in the animals. And, you know, in the beginning you might doubt yourself, but they're fun to play with the animals because they're so open to them and they so much appreciate them. And, you know, my world is animals and making them feel good. So they're magical.
Thank you, Patty. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's light codes for calming, emotional support, for physical things, you know, to assist in inflammation, all sorts of different things. I'd suggest, if you're interested, go out and take a look at the website. You go to 818lightcodes.com. The 818 is simply a number that I see all the time. It means a lot to me, and that's why I use that. It's 818lightcodes.com. There is a page on the website that has installation instructions, and very, very easy to use. You can't get it wrong. It's basically breathing it in. And then there's an alphabetical listing. If you want to go by name, go to the names. They're all there. I think I counted the other day, and there's 169 light codes now. And you can click on the name, and it'll pull up the picture for you. There's also another page that has all of the pictures in alphabetical order. And lastly, there's a really wonderful, I think it's called Barbara's Slideshow. If you want to play it on your computer, you just pull up the page and it will cycle through all the light codes randomly. And the reason it's called Barbara's Light Code Slideshow is because she's the one that requested it, and so we named it after her. If you have questions, send me an email or call me. My way to reach me is on the website, and I really appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to this. If you have questions, let me know. And Patty, thanks for taking the time to tell your stories. We've got a million others, and hopefully in the future we'll do some more. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Debbie. It was my honor. I really appreciate it, too.
All right, talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye.